India is a very interesting set in my homemade magic cards based off of Civilization 6. I am Loki the Gamer, eager to take you into this weird India set. Like usual, my sets comprise of 6 unique cards, but in the case of India here, it's kind of like 2 mini packs. These packs are mini enough as it is, but this one is split into even 2 minier. Minier? Can you say that? More mini sets because India truly has 2 entirely different identities. One to reflect each of its leaders, one very warlike and one very peace-like. It couldn't be more different from one another. So let's take a look. There will be 2 legendary lands, one for each of its identities, 2 leaders, obviously, and 2 unique items. The overview of India will indeed be two-pronged. There is a sense of copying other people's religions through your own religion. So faith will be key here, and according to our equivalency chart, faith translates to a number of things, but I chose in this case to focus on clerics. So India will have to, at least the happy, nice, kind, faithful, peaceful side of India, will have to focus on having a lot of clerics. And also, it'll feature life gain, so the faithful aspect of India represented through a cleric tribal concept and also life gain. And since there will be peace, this side of India focuses on being at peace, there will be some attack deterrence. You'll see how I chose to discourage other creatures, other players from attacking you. And the other side of India, the evil, nasty, attack, conquering, territorial expansion side of India, will be all about military bonuses. There is the concept of territorial expansion wars that give you a good, beefy military bonus for a limited time in Civ 6. Therefore, I turned that into a similar concept that triggers when you attack someone, but also gives you a boost for a limited time. A little bit like a countdown. I'm quite happy by the way it turned out. I can't wait to show you. And finally, there will be the mention of food. India generates a lot of food, and food turns into extra population, and that is why my homemade chart tells us that food translates to food tokens and population growth in the form of creature tokens. I chose to focus on both this time, so we will see food tokens and also creature tokens generation. The color identity of India, well, this is a fun chapter because it's 2 colors, but it's not 2 colors, it's 1 color and then another color, if you know what I mean. The first identity of India will be all white, nice and peaceful and faithful, and the other identity, the warlike military conquering side of India, will be all black. And there'll be no overlap, but also there's like no desire for overlap. The white pieces of India don't really care to use the black parts anyway, and the black parts of India really aren't too upset that they can't use the white parts. So yeah, there's no overlap and there's no need for overlap. Let's look at what the India power grants any player who chooses India, no matter the leader. It is called Dharma. Receive a follower belief bonus in a city from each religion that has at least 1 follower. So there you go, you get to use everyone's religion. Ideally, you want your Indian cities to attract a bunch of different religions. It sounds exciting. I tried it. I really enjoyed my Indian game, but I really focused on trying to attract people to your cities. You can't actively do that. You've got to open up your borders and then just wait. Hope, cross your fingers that they come into your cities. Sometimes the AI frustratingly does not play along, doesn't get the memo. Come into my line, I want your religion. It's very upsetting. I wish there were a little bit of a reverse inquisitor, a unit that can grab religion out of a city and basically turn itself into an apostle of that religion. to help spread it somewhere else, including in your own city. That would be amazing. It would make a lot of sense also thematically, and India would just go nuts with those. So you could bring religion across all your cities. But you deserve that. When you play India, if you are willing to put in the work and effort to create those unique units, well, they don't even have to be unique. Maybe everyone has access to them, but none would use them as much as India. Then if you are willing to use those units, travel to other countries, come back with a religion, spread it to your own city, if you are willing to put all that work, then you deserve the Dharma ability to finally flourish and blossom. I've had a real hard time really making good use of this Dharma ability because it's great on paper, but trickier in practice. I've even had some hilariously frustrating experiences. There's a parody video out there on my channel that really reflects my experiences once I spawned on an island of my own, so I had no neighbors to spread their religions to me, so there's no way I would get some new religions until later into the seafaring phases of the game, so that was a restart. And then I spawned next to a mountain chain. I was cut off from everyone else through a mountain chain. And then later I spawned right next to, you won't guess, the Congo, who cannot have a religion of their own. That was just the game at this point just being cruel with me. So I tried to use Dharma. It's not easy, but that didn't stop me from turning it into a really cool magic card. Let's take a look at it at the legendary land of India. It generates white, so obviously only the white aspect of India could use it in its 99 if it were a commander deck. So India is a legendary land, a mythic rare, and yeah, it focuses on copying other people's religion. Now, what could those religions do? Well, according to Civ 6, a number of different powers. Some religions grant you extra food, others grant you extra military abilities, extra this, extra that. The religious abilities are super varied, so I had to make sure that whatever you copied was also super varied. But most importantly, I had to make sure that you get to copy all of that if and only if you can prove that you have a lot of faith. And that, as we've said in the overview, translates to having lots of clerics available. So in order to copy someone's religious power, you need to have a cleric available. Let's read what the land says. Whenever an opponent scries, you may tap an untapped cleric you control. If you do, do the same as that opponent. So you get to scry just the same as they did. Then the same is true whenever a player surveils, creates a token, mills one or more cards, gains one or more life, draws a card, except the first card they draw each turn. So there you go, you get to copy a number of super varied ability, and you get to do it anytime, all the time, as long as you keep some untapped clerics on hand available to tap at the drop of a hat in case you need to copy someone's awesome power. So there you go, you are just like with the Dharma ability in Civ 6, you are at the mercy of what your opponent does or doesn't do. If your opponent just does things that are not listed on that card, then your India land doesn't do anything, neither do your clerics. But I made sure that these abilities were vast and varied enough that sooner or later an opponent will do something that you can copy. Also, you can just take a page off of the Kree's book. If you've seen my Kree video, it focuses entirely on making other people do things. Egypt also does that in my Egypt video. Those are two trade-related civs, and they get to do some good stuff whenever the opponent does stuff, and they help themselves by giving the opponent the things that they need. So if you wanted to do the same thing with India, for instance, India says that you get to copy a token whenever your opponent creates a token. Well, you could force them to create one. You could create a token under their control. If they create a token, even if you're the one who made them create it, your India triggers and you get to copy that ability. So there you go, or gains one or more life. If you make them gain life, you get to copy that with your India power if you so wish. So yes, you can just sit back and wait until they do something, And if that doesn't happen, then maybe your deck is constructed in a way that you make that happen, even if your opponents can't be relied upon to do it themselves. So there we go. I think that is a very interesting card indeed. And now we can move on to, what should we do? Should we, now that we've started on the happy, peaceful side of India, should we stick with it, or should we cover the other land, the one that's a lot more evil? Now let's stick to the happy, nice side of India. Let's go take a look at Gandhi. Gandhi in Civ 6, he has the, oh boy, Satyagraha ability. Extra faith for each civilization they have met. So basically, you get faith just by exploring, just by having other people in the game, you get extra faith. And of course, you can't be at war with them, so peace and more peace all the way. And in order to guarantee that peace will linger, other civilizations have a nasty penalty when they declare war on you, when they're at war with you. Very representative of a peaceful Gandhi, and it wasn't that hard to turn that into a white magic card. He is a Gandhi Mahatma Peacekeeper. Yes, indeed, Mahatma is not his name. Most people call him Mahatma Gandhi like it's his first name, but that is a common misconception. Mahatma was actually his title. So he is a Mahatma, and he is a peacekeeper, and his name is just Gandhi. He costs 3 mana, 1 white, 2 generic. He is a rare card, human cleric advisor. Yes, I made him into a cleric. I had to do a little bit of research. Is it fair to call him a cleric? It's mostly fairly accurate-ish, but also what's neat is that now he can power up his own India land. His stats are 1-2. Should have made him 0-2, really. And then to represent his extra faith, well, if you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 for each opponent you haven't attacked this game instead. So yes, there's the concept of having more faith the more opponents you get. But it doesn't trigger by itself. You don't just get extra life automatically each turn for each opponent that you have. No, you must do something to gain life. So you would want to make this deck into a life gain deck, knowing that you will get 1, 2, or 3 extra life for each life gain instance. So your deck provides the life gain instances, Gandhi provides the boosts. Very nasty, it's a lot of life gain, so a Philidar Sovereign in that deck would be a surefire way to secure a victory. And then of course I had to make sure that there was a war deterrent. Other players must think twice before attacking you, so there's his Satyagraha ability. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, that creature deals 2 damage to its controller. So it's worth attacking Gandhi if you attack with one big fatty and try to get him out of the game early before his life gain spirals out of control, but it's much trickier to get him out of the game with a lot of tiny soldiers or goblins. You'll kill yourself faster than you can kill Gandhi. So yeah, players need to work together, designate, okay, you take care of Gandhi, your deck is perfect for that, me, not so much. So yeah, people need to politicize around the table to see how best they can handle a Gandhi player. So that's very interesting, and I don't think it's too interesting because other than the aforementioned Philidar Sovereign or the Aetherflux Reservoirs, you know, instant wins or instant kill, how would you win with Gandhi? You need some way to win, because the minute you start attacking your opponents, your ability that gives you extra life starts to go down drastically, until it gives you nothing more, until you get no bonuses. I mean, your deck is still filled with life gain, but you don't get extra life gain anymore once you've attacked everyone. So you need to, I don't know, build your forces, build a whole army of clerics, have a Door of Destinies out there, something like that, a coat of arms, and then when you're good and ready, do a massive attack, and then you don't care about losing your life gain bonus. So if your instant win, if your Philidar Sovereign, your Aetherflux Reservoirs, and your Test of Endurance, if those don't come online, then you have your army of clerics at the ready to secure a win when and if you are good and ready to launch an attack. I guess that's the way to go. And of course, you have a whole bunch of life gain triggers. Whenever you gain life, this, and that. White has no dearth of that, so it would be a whole lot of fun to build a deck around that. I've got more than one life gain decks of my own, and they're usually quite fun. Let's go straight to the unique Indian infrastructure. We are really jumping all over the place here. It comes from having such a varied little mini set, having 2 sets inside a single set. And the Indian Sepwell is a white card, perfect for a Gandhi deck. Of course, in Civ 6, it is an improvement that goes on flat land and produces food, lots of extra food and housing, so yes, you can expect some extra population. And there are adjacency bonuses for having farms nearby and holy sites nearby. I chose to ignore that this time around. Usually, I do take that into account, and I make an improvement like that scale up the more similar land improvements you have, but not this one. I wasn't feeling it. So being a land improvement, it translates to being a land aura, so an enchantment aura that goes on a land, and it must enchant a non-mountain being tied to flatland. It costs 2 white and a generic. And the enchanted land has a tap, create a food token. So yeah, it simply gives you extra food. And it has a really nice sacrifice trigger. Whenever you sacrifice a food, create a white 1/1 citizen token. So that's pretty neat. So in a Gandhi deck, food you would conceivably sacrifice for life. I mean, the game of Magic the Gathering, even without my extra cards, already has a whole bunch of different ways, of alternate ways of sacrificing food. So you don't always have to sacrifice food for life, for the built-in life-gaining ability that they provide you. But in the case of India, you probably do, because you gain a lot of life, and if Gandhi is out there and you've been peaceful, you gain not just a lot of life, you gain a shitload of life. So yes, you probably want to sacrifice food for the life-gaining ability, and you turn food into population increase, into creature tokens. And as we saw at the beginning on my chart, food is interpreted to mean food tokens in Magic and also creature tokens. So you are really turning one aspect of food into another aspect of food. And you got all the life gain from it as well. So yeah, I think that's very neat, fits in very well with India's population. Of course, it creates a citizen token, doesn't create a cleric token, but it's up to you to load your deck with clerics. I know it can be done. I have a cleric tribal deck already, and there's way too many clerics to choose from already in white alone, so don't worry, you will be able to build a white cleric deck, no problem. Now let's go look at the warmongering side of India. First, the legendary land that I created for the other leader is the Maurya Empire, so Chandragupta's ancient Indian conquest-driven empire, territorial expansion empire, I should say. And it is a swamp. I decided to give it a basic land type. There's a few lands in my set for which I decided to do that. Made it an uncommon, and I made it very powerful when it enters. Of course, what is the inspiration for that card? Nothing really. I just based myself off of what Chandragupta and what he would like for his legendary land. So you get 1 color less for each opponent that controls no creatures. So get that early, get that on turn 1. Well, can't do anything because it enters tapped, I made sure of that. But if play comes back to you and no one or very few players have played creatures on turn 1, then this thing can tap for 3 mana, maybe 2, at least 1 you would think. Later in the game, it taps for literally nothing. So later in the game, that land is a dead card. So I had to make sure to give it something else to do. You could play it, tap it, and not quite sacrifice it, but return it to its owner's hand. And pay a cost of 2 black and 2 generic to force everyone to sacrifice a creature. So it's not a dead card later in the game, but yes, it takes a while to come online, so you have to play it, it enters tapped. Next turn, you get to do that ability if you so want, bounce it back in your hand, play it right away again if you want, and then next turn you could do it again. So conceivably, each turn you could do that, but that means each turn you would have to pay 4 mana, so dedicate 4 mana to keep doing that again and again and again. And also, if you keep doing that, you don't ever get a fresh, new, useful land drop ever again, because each turn your one land drop would have to be that land. So it is the one legendary land that I created in this whole set so far that only seems meh to me. It has a huge upside if you can play it right away on turn 1, so maybe you want to mulligan and mulligan and mulligan again just to get that, but is it worth it? I don't know. If you have a way of, I don't know, sacrificing lands for a benefit, or if only I had given it Cycle, because it's such a nearly dead card later in the game that maybe Cycle might have been good. But either way, I'm not unhappy about it. I'm just not wowed by it. I'm not excited to play with it. I'm not staring at it going, if only this were a real card. So, I guess don't forget, it affects you too. Each player must sacrifice a creature, so I guess it's good if you have an aristocrat deck, which Chandragupta will soon see is not built around that concept. He doesn't do sacrifices necessarily, but conceivably that could be your strategy. I don't know. Let's take a look at him, and in the end, Chandragupta himself will be the judge of this Maurya Empire land that I created. So Chandragupta in Civ 6, what does he do? Well, he has this whole concept of war of territorial expansion. First of all, you can declare war of territorial expansion sooner than usual, and when you do, you get a sweet military bonus that lasts for 10 turns afterwards. So I needed to convey the sense of a countdown after declaring war on someone. So let's take a look at the card. So maybe the land doesn't excite me quite so much, but Chandragupta himself does. There he is, Chandragupta Maurya. Nothing to do with the Mines of Moria. There won't be a Balrog involved, or will there? No, there can't be, because the Balrog cards are all black and red. Anyway, he costs 5, black, 3 generic, a rare human warrior, stats of 4/4, but you'll see it gets better. There's his ability, the Arthashastra. There you go, did well enough. Just like Gandhi, he too has the concept of having attacked a player this game or not. Whenever you attack a player, if it's the first time you attacked them this game, put 4+1/+1 counters on Chandragupta. So, if you've never attacked a player, and finally you do, and of course, if Chandragupta is on the battlefield, you would hope that you waited long enough for that, then his ability triggers and you really double Chandragupta's powers. He goes from a 4/4 to an 8/8. Very neat, but where's the countdown aspect of it? It's the next ability. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a +1/+1 counter from Chandragupta. If you do, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain menace until end of turn. So there's the concept of the for a limited time only countdown. So after you've declared a war of what is essentially territorial expansion, then your Chandragupta gets a whole bunch of counters, and you remove one each turn to boost all of your other creatures. And of course this, the act of declaring a war of territorial expansion, can happen as many as 3 times a game. If you play against 3 opponents, then you could get that Arthashastra boost 3 times. Especially if you do it 3 turns in a row. First I attack you, next turn I attack you, next turn I attack you. Boom! You just boosted the Chandragupta 3 times. He got 12 +1/+1 counters over a span of 3 turns, and your countdown of removing 1 each turn will last you pretty much until the end of the game. And that boost, +2/+2 and menace to all your creatures, is quite nasty in and of itself. And don't forget that at the beginning of your upkeep, you just need to remove a +1/+1 counter from Chandragupta. It doesn't say that that counter must come from the Arthashastra ability. Any of them. So even if your Chandragupta runs out of counters, or if your opponent slap some -1/-1s on him and remove his counters, if your deck is constructed in such a way that you can add more counters on him, then you can sort of cheat. You can get that countdown to last longer and longer and longer. So it's not easy to make a +1/+1 counter focused deck in black, in mono black. But it's not impossible. There are a number of ways that you could do that. Some artifacts can help you do that, so colorless ways. Yeah, so that is a neat thing to keep in mind. Make your deck, of course, go wide. You want to go wide. You want a lot of tiny creatures, because they all get menace, they all get +2/+2, so yes, make some tokens, token that create more tokens, whatever you need to do to go wide. Go wide and focus on adding some counters on Chandragupta, and there's your game. So a fun, interesting, if perhaps a little single-minded idea for a commander is my mono black Chandragupta homemade card. And he gets the unique unit of India. It is the Varu. I made it a black card, so therefore it would fit in his deck and not Gandhi's. The Varu is an elephant unit that weakens all of the adjacent enemy units. So therefore I thought that flanking was appropriate. Flanking is an existing keyword in Magic. I love reusing old keywords. That reads, whenever this creature is blocked by another creature that doesn't have flanking, that creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So yeah, it's a way of weakening your enemy. Seems to fit what the Varu does. It is a common elephant mount creature for 1 black and 3 generic. I decided to make it a mount. I focused entirely on the elephant. I didn't focus on the fact that, yes, there are dudes on top who are riding it and like driving it. I made this the mount, the elephant. And I gave it trample. And I gave its flanking ability dependent on it being saddled. So when this creature attacks while saddled, it gains flanking until end of turn. And saddle of 2. Why 2? Well, because there are 2 people in the picture. Isn't that cute? And that's it for the mini Gandhi pack of 3 cards and the mini Chandragupta pack of 3 cards. And together, they make the giant pack of 6 Indian cards. Let me know what you think. Would you build either of those? Do you regret that neither of them can go into the 99 of the other? I don't. Those are such 2 different, completely opposite facets of the game that we're talking about 2 completely different decks here. So what else would you put in your Chandragupta deck? What else would you put in your Gandhi deck? We already covered all of the obvious answers, but maybe you sneaky people have some other ideas I haven't thought of. Let me know in the comments, and catch me for another review of my own homemade Magic the Gathering cards based on Civilization 6. And until next time, play one more turn.